There's been a lot of talk from the media, academia, and especially politicians about diversity,
Diversity.
tolerance, and now equity.
Equity.
But what do these terms actually mean? Because it turns out that these terms don't necessarily mean what they think they mean, or at least not what they're advertised to mean. And they're so popular precisely because they are so politically malleable. And the vaguer a term or phrase, the easier it is to use for political purposes. Let's start with diversity, which Webster's dictionary describes as the quality or state of having many different forms, types, or ideas. But that's not how a lot of politicians use the term. Instead, they use words like diversity as a blanket term to describe some sort of positive outcome from whatever policy they happen to be pushing for. But more importantly, they often use these terms to then demonize their political opposition and paint any dissenters as racist, sexist, bigots, people that oppose diversity. Of course, these same politicians and activists only want to promote diversity as they define it. And when it comes to things like diversity of thought, the response is often met with silence. In the words of Thomas Sowell, the next time some academic tells you how important diversity is, ask them how many Republicans there are in their sociology department. But how about the term tolerance? I mean, of course, we all want to be seen as tolerant in the sense that we are willing to hear people out and have civil discussions with others. But in political circles, the term tolerance is often redefined to mean something like celebration or even promotion of a certain idea or concept. See, it's not good enough that you believe in living and let live. You need to actively endorse whatever they are pushing, or you're intolerant. And finally, we have the newest term, equity, which is technically defined as fairness or justice in the way people are treated, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But many politicians and activists often use the term to mean equality of outcomes. And even when they claim that equality outcomes is not what they're after, the moment you ask them, how will you know when we've arrived at an equitable society? They will almost immediately use equality of outcomes as the way they measure success. And this may not seem like a big deal, but the implications here are actually pretty dangerous. As F.A. Hayek writes in The Road to Serfdom, there's all the difference in the world between treating people equally and attempting to make them equal. While the first is the condition of a free society, the second means a new form of servitude. And history shows us that whenever the government attempts to impose equality of outcome, the state usually succeeds by making everyone equally miserable. And unfortunately, terms like diversity, tolerance, and equity, which are fine or even noble concepts in and of themselves, are increasingly being hijacked to push for more government power at the expense of everything from property rights to even freedom of speech. And this has led to a disturbing trend where many of the same people preaching diversity, tolerance, and equity will automatically claim that any disagreement with their policy positions is evidence of bigotry, sexism, and racism. But outrage, especially manufactured outrage, is not a substitute for an argument. And you can learn more about that by watching this video here. I'm Nick Freitas with the Y Minutes, and thank you for watching.